Hi guys, it's Sherry. Today we are going to be making a pendant using this stone. I got this stone and I believe it's like a moss agate and I absolutely loved it. And if you look closely, you can actually see through the stone. Unfortunately, when I put clay underneath it, you will not. But the stone is so beautiful and I love all the grassy look in here. It really honestly looks like moss. And it's just a gorgeous stone. So I really want to create something with it. And I'm going to be using this cutter to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do two different colors so you guys can really see the detail that I want to put onto, oops, the detail that I really want to put on to this pendant. So I'm going to open up my white clay. And this is all Primo clay, so you know. And of course, I have to soften it. I kind of like to roll it in my hands initially just to get it nice and warm. And then it'll roll out a lot smoother. Now, you do not need brand new clay. If you have white clay with dirt in it, not dirt, but that is old used clay, you can use that because this is going to be either painted or mica powder. I haven't decided yet exactly what I'm going to do, but it does not have to be that beautiful clear white. So I'm going to run this one through my pasta machine, and then I need some black, and that is just to show you guys the detail on it. So I'll roll this through my pasta machine as well, just to condition it. So this one will be out, so this one will go on my thickest setting as well as this one. Okay, so now I have my clay rolled out, conditioned, ready to go. So the first thing I want to do is just cut out my shape. And then I'm going to place, well, let me get my tile first because I like to work on my tile so I can move everything around. So I have my tile here. I'll put my piece on there. And my next step is to kind of start building this up. I'm going to put my stone in position. Where exactly do I want it? I know I want it right in the middle because here I want to build up and potentially make some trees. But I want to take this and I'm going to pull these very carefully, and I want to loop them around. And have them connect. And the reason I'm doing that is because that is where I will hang my necklace from. So I'm going to pull these and then just carefully loop it. I'm going to take my pointer tool and just blend this all together nicely. Kind of open up my hole a little bit. And this is going to be one of my pieces that I kind of design as I go. I have an idea, I draw out what I want, and I design as I go because I do change my mind throughout the process. So now I just want to make sure this is going to be level. And don't worry, we're going to be building everything up. So if your piece looks messy initially, that's okay. You go with the flow. All right. So that's how I am going to start my piece. And then I'll take my white clay again, get it nice and soft. And I like to just roll it in my hands, get it nice and pliable. Then I'm going to make a noodle. And it's going to be a wider one, because this is going to go right at the bottom here. So I'm going to connect this right to my stone and my clay underneath. And then wrap it around. Do the same thing. And just push it in to make sure everything connects nicely. Trim up my edge here, and then connect that one. I really like taking these odd shaped cutters and making unique pieces with them. And when I saw that, I really thought I could put an odd shaped stone in there and create something completely different than I normally would. Okay, so now I know that's right up against the stone. It's connected well. And now I'm going to start building up my actual piece, because I want this whole thing to be nice and thick, because that's a heavy stone, so that thin clay is not going to hold up. So put your clay into a point and then wrap it around, and don't worry about the hole. We'll reopen that if we cover it up. The whole point of using this cutter is to get the design. It's much, much easier using the cutter than trying to design it myself and cutting it out from paper. So just kind of build up how thick you want it. But remember, it's a heavy stone. You're going to want it thicker. If it's a tiny stone that weighs basically nothing, you can keep it the way that it is and not worry about building your piece up. You can just use the layer that you cut initially. And you see how I'm just kind of building it up this way? That's all you need to do, is just keep adding that clay right around the original design. And a lot of people think this stuff is hard, but honestly, working with gemstones is so simple. You just have to learn the little tricks. And the biggest thing is building your piece up. And I love doing the base white, because for some reason the Prima white is more pliable than the black. No matter how much I warm that black up, it is not as soft as the white. So the white is perfect for making a base. Now I'm just rubbing my sides and blending my top pieces and the bottom piece together. And this tile really is useful, because you see how I'm just turning my piece? That's all you need, is something that you could turn your piece and you don't have to keep lifting everything up. All right, let me get my other tool here. Okay, I want my silicone tool. I love my silicone tools. And I like the pointy ones, because now I could take this and start blending my pieces together. And it's not going to be beautiful, but we just want it to get started and blend your pieces together. And a lot of times if you just roll, it'll blend it all together nicely for you. I want to keep that shape there, so I want to make sure that I continue curving that. Go right into that stone area, curve it, because you don't want to lose your shape. So you can see right here, all I'm doing is making sure I stay with that shape and blend those pieces together. Take the flat end, start blending, and you'll get a nice smooth blend. You could take that part, push that in, and then here, use your finger. If you have a stubborn part, all right, so now you can see how we kind of distorted our piece. So I want to bring this back closer to the original shape. So I'm going to kind of look at the back here and kind of go off of that to kind of put it right back to where it originally was. So don't worry about, like I said, losing that hole. We'll get that hole back. It's all a matter of trying to blend everything and get it smooth and looking nice. And these papers here really help with taking your piece off and on, with having to lift it up. Because if it's on your tile or your glass, you're going to kind of have a hard time constantly lifting it. All right, so now I want to put this back into a point here. It's starting to come back together here. Kind of give myself an idea. And I'm actually going to point this back up. Let me see. And I'm kind of just measuring everything up here, getting an idea. of how it was. I'm going to push down. That's going to give me very close to the original shape here. So I just took off a tiny bit. I'm going to okay, push that back out. And we just have to fix this little section here. I want to smooth this all out. This is the most you're going to spend time on, is really just shaping it and putting it the way that you like it. So like this, I can see this is fatter. So I want to fix that because I don't want one side being bigger than the other. So I need to smooth it out. But I want to bring all of this up. So I am going to smooth it out and start stretching my piece now that it's thicker and one piece. Again, I'm very close to the same height. Smooth that out. And then I'm going to push this in, get them very close together, and then roll them back over to how they originally were. And I'm going to put my finger underneath and then try to blend. I want some support here. So I'm going to try to blend these two together so it becomes one piece and they're completely connected and it doesn't break. So if your finger, like mine, I felt like it wasn't supporting it enough, I'm going to use my tile here and then start blending these together. And then press them down again. And then blend the top. And that way you know your piece will be securely there. Okay, so now we got the hard part done. Look over it. Make sure everything's smooth on the back. And make sure it's straight. Push this up just a tiny bit. All right. Now let's edge off our stone properly. So I'm going to take the flat end here and start pushing down on my clay to make sure it's nice and straight and level and just looks good around my stone. And I use my fingers for a lot of my smoothing. Your fingers truly are your best tool. I'm just pushing down on the clay and then smoothing over it. That's all I am doing. Because I want as much of that stone to show. I am going to take my ball tool and put it in here and just open up those holes to the size that I want it to be opened. And I may have to do this a couple times, but I like to kind of do it in the beginning and smooth anything out that you may see. Okay, so next I am going to make some marks on here. Kind of give it a little bit of a scratch look. So just doing little lines here and there. So can you see that? So here, I'm just going to go straight down and go across and up and down. And that's going to give my piece some texture. And by doing this, you're kind of hiding any flaws that you have in your clay. Because you just reshaped something completely from a cutter, you're most likely going to have flaws on that. So by doing this, it gives it texture and it hides stuff. And that is a huge, huge trick to make people think that everything was designed perfect just by adding little texture to things. And we'll do it on the sides as well. So I'm going to just go, and I'm not going deep. I'm just making little marks. Okay. Go on this side as well. Go around the edge here. Make sure your piece is completely flat, because you want it to bake flat. Okay. So once you're happy with the way it looks, you can stop. If you edged anything and made it move, just refix it. I'm going to re-smooth, but I'm not pressing. I'm just getting all those little pieces that might be loose out of the way. Okay. So now I want to take my black, get that soft, and make very, very, very tiny noodles. Like super skinny. And they don't have to be big. I want little tiny ones. Okay. So you can see how skinny that is. Take your little noodle and start putting them on different areas here. Come on, get off my finger. I want to keep them on the top only, so I will cut off anything that may go over. All right, so that's what we have so far, and it looks kind of messy, but that's okay. Get these little pieces out of the way, because they're kind of like, these ones were, I could feel like they're almost hollow inside, which means that they were not rolling nicely. Now I want to take little pieces and start edging them onto the corners. And they're going to be different sizes and shapes. And these are going to be our little trees. So I like to have a point on the end. And not everyone is going to be the same size. Trees are all different, so we want to kind of play around and just get different sizes. Come on, give me. That one broke off. And I'm going for the whole nature look, kind of like I usually do. When I saw that mossy agate, I just thought, oh, this would be so perfect for a little tree pendant. So that's what I decided I was going to do. And I want it to be rough looking. And the reason I want it to be rough looking is because if you ever see those antique necklaces that are handmade, they're all rough looking. None of them look perfect. You could tell that they're, you know, done a certain way. And I love the antique look, so that's kind of what I'm going for. And that's going to be a little too big. So take your time on this. Make sure that you're getting your branches, you know, the different sizes and pointy and things like that, because this is going to be your little what's the word I'm looking for? This is going to be the part that people are going to really look at to see. So some of them, like these branches, are going to be further apart. These ones are going to be closer together. I want them to be different. Overlap them. It's okay. I think the key is just remembering handmade items are supposed to be unique. They're supposed to be different. And I think that's why a lot of people love them. If you make everything the same, is it really special? So doing different things makes you stand out. So don't be afraid to try new things and be different. And this one I'll skip every little or every other line. So instead of putting the branches like this, I'm going to go like that. And it'll make my piece look a little fuller than it actually is, which means then I have to put less clay in that area. And then I like to take my tiny one and just kind of press everything down. Make sure it's securely on there. You can move your pieces to if it's not in the area that you want it to be. This one I think is too close, so we're going to take this one off. I just think it's too close to the other tree and it's going to make it look too cluttered. And then it might end up just looking like a black blob. So this particular tree, I'm not going to put all the branches on the other side because I don't want too much overlay. So you can see I have 4 branches over here, but I'm only doing 3 because if I overlay it too much, it's going to look too mushy. And then I'll just push everything down. Blend it nicely. And then I'll finish the last tree over here. So these are going to be fatter, but smaller. Then I'm going to take my tool and kind of mush it down a little bit to give it more like a triangle look. And I'm going to give it some texture, so it's going to look fuller. So if you could see, and these, I'm just going to kind of put a little line down just to give it a little bit of texture. That one I'll leave alone. And then this one, we'll give it a little texture as well. But we don't have to texture all of them. We like our pieces to be different. I'm going to open that back up a bit. There we go. So it looks very messy right now, but that's okay. And I think I might do a tiny, tiny one at the top there. And we'll do one right there. So here I am just texturing it and kind of moving it about. Okay. So that is our messy look right now, but trust me, it will look fantastic by the time we're done. Right now, let me see, what else do I want to do? I am going to put a few of these on. These are my little tiny mini beads. Some of them stay, some of them don't. So if they fall out, no worries. Take them and just put them in different areas. I'm hoping that by putting them in now, not only do I have my spots, but I'm hoping that they stay in place. But sometimes they come out, so I'm just kind of warning you now. But you have to put them in now, because if you don't, you won't have that area with the hole in it for it to go push into the clay. And then it kind of sits there funny. And it doesn't look as nice. So these are going to be my little snowflakes. And I am pushing these in pretty good so they're kind of level with the clay, in hopes that I don't have to reglue these and that they stay exactly where they are. And then when I paint everything, it just stays really nice. So that's my game plan. But you never know. And that looks really pretty. Okay, so my next step is to try my new mica powder, and this is silver, and I am going to go right over this. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. My trees will be painted because I want them to have a little snowy top to them. But if I do the mica powder on now, I won't have to paint my entire piece, and it's going to save me so much time from having to paint everything. This is a beautiful silver. Absolutely gorgeous. Can you guys see how beautiful that silver is? That doesn't remind you of winter. How gorgeous is that? And you can see the little details. You see how when we put those little marks in that clay, You can actually see them with the mica powder. So now don't worry about getting your trees full of the mica powder. That's okay, because you want to get in between those branches. Absolutely love this mica powder. So pretty. It's the first time I'm using it. I had it for a few weeks and I just haven't had any projects that required silver mica powder, and I've been waiting to create something, and I'm so glad that I just grabbed it, because that is so perfect for winter. That is going to be beautiful. Now I am going to do the back right away. I'm going to hold my piece, and then I will do my back with the mica powder. All right, so now what I want to do is take, let me see here. I want to take my oven baked clay adhesive, and I just need very little. And I want to take a little bit, and I am just going to put it right on the edge here. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure that my piece is securely on there. Sometimes when you blend, it doesn't always get in every little piece, in every little area. So like inside here, if I put a little bit of glue inside there, that's going to make sure that my piece is going to have a little bit extra chance of not falling apart. Which one? Right here. Because it'll have that extra bond. Make sure I got everything. Okay. Take my pointer tool, blend that adhesive in there. Make sure I get right into the corner where those two pieces of clay meet. And there we go. Look how beautiful. So something that looked like it may or may not work out is coming out gorgeous. I'm going to put this in the oven, 275. It is a little thicker, so I'm going to do 45 minutes. And then we'll come back and finish this piece up. My piece is out of the oven, and oh my goodness, I am so happy with this. Look how beautiful this is coming out. Absolutely gorgeous. I am so thrilled with this. So my next step, actually I'm going to continue using this. My next step is, I normally don't put color on my pendants that I do silver. I normally would do like a gold and keep it like the metal look. But because of the stone, I really want to go with some color. So I have two different kinds of green that I want to play around and see which one I like best. So I have a dark green, and then I have this gorgeous like emerald green. But I have the feeling the dark green is really what I should be going for. So I'm going to try the dark green first and just kind of get an idea if that's what I want. I actually want to shake this just a little bit better because it's a little thin. And there we go. That's a little thicker. Because that to me is more like the gem color. Oops. I'm used to it sticking. So I think I am going to go with the dark. So very carefully, I am going to go over my branches. And I want to make sure that I'm not getting it on my silver, because I want that silver to stay exactly the way it is. So you can see I'm using a very thin brush, and I'm kind of just dabbing it in the paint, and then I'm letting the paint spread right over those branches. And once it doesn't like spread as easy, I'm going to add more, and that'll help with the mistakes, because if you have a paint that spreads easy, you won't have to brush it so much, if that makes sense. All right, so now I got a nice little dab there by accident. So I'm just going to take an old baby wipe, and I'm going to dab it straight down. I will not spread it. If you wipe, you're going to get that green all over, and that is mica powder. So it's going to, if you paint over it, the colors are not going to line up or match up. So you want to avoid getting anything on your silver if you can. All right, so now I'm going to give that a couple minutes to dry, and then we're going to go over it and do our white. I actually see a little tiny spot that I missed. But before you put the white on, make sure your green is completely dry so you're not smearing your work and it doesn't look messy. All right, so my green is dried, and I want to point out to you guys, all my little metal balls that I put on here, they are completely in that clay. So thank goodness I don't have to worry about having to glue all those little tiny pieces. They actually stayed in the clay. Sometimes they come out, and I had that happen a few times, but this time it worked out beautiful, and I'm super happy with that. So now I'm going to get my white acrylic paint, and I have another real skinny brush. Now this time I'm just going to get my tip done here, and then very carefully I am going to put the thinnest layer of white on here, because I want this just to look like snow. So I'm not even putting it on the entire thing, just a little here and a little there. So let me show you how I did that one. So you see I have it on top, and then I just did a little bit over here. So we're not going to, we want to make sure that green stays there, and just add the tiniest bit on the top to look like snow. So just like that. So do that with all your pieces, or all your little trees, I should say. And that's another reason with making all your trees different. All of them are not going to look the same now with that snow on top. You're going to see that each tree is slightly different, which really just brings your piece to life. Just overlook your piece. See if there's anything else you want to add. And how pretty is that? Is that not a beautiful winter pendant? I mean, how gorgeous. All right. So now I'm going to let that completely dry. And then we'll put the last, we'll put our gloss on here, and then we'll put our jump rings, and then our chain, and this piece will be complete. Okay, so my piece is dried. What I like to do is I love to hang my pieces up to dry. It's almost like an extra step that I don't have to do, because now I can gloss my pieces front and back at the same time. So I have my jump rings here. I'm going to open them up, put my jump ring through. I did cut my chain ahead of time. So I made sure it was the length that I wanted. I will put the chain on. And then close my jump ring. I'll take my smaller jump ring. Open that up. Put that on the other end. Put my clasp on that end as well. And then close my jump ring all the way. Oops. Oy. It's like a hard one. It's not lining up. If you have a jump ring that doesn't line up properly, say one's on top of the, like one is on top of the other, stick your pliers in there, squeeze them down, and they will connect. So that's a little trick that you could do. Okay, so now my chain is on. I'll connect it all. Look how gorgeous. I love this. This came out so pretty. Just absolutely beautiful. And it's so simple. There's nothing crazy about this. It was just such a simple piece. And it turned out absolutely beautiful. So now I'm going to get my, this is my matte gloss. So I'm going to do the back first. And I work right around my jump rings. This particular piece I want with the matte because I don't want it overly shiny. I almost feel like the mica powder has such a gorgeous shine on it that I don't need any more added to it. So now I'll hold the sides here, and I'm going to do the front, and I will do the sides last. So like I'll do the inside here, but the actual like sides where my fingers are, that'll be the last thing that I do once I hang it up. And I don't put overly too much on because I don't want it dripping. And truthfully, with any of your glosses, you don't need too much. And what's nice about the gloss is it's going to protect your mica powder. It's going to protect your paint, and all those little metal pieces, those little metal balls, that'll help keep those intact as well. Oh, see, the back is already dry, so I can hold it like that. That's super nice. So I'm going to get real close to my stone, but not on my stone. And then I'll hang this up, let it completely dry, and then we'll see what it looks like 100% complete. All right, guys, and here is the final piece. It's completely dry, ready to be worn, and I am super pleased with this. I really hope you guys like this as much as I do. I went a little more simple on this piece than I normally would have, and the reason I did that was because I really wanted to just focus on a winter theme. And this stone just reminded me so much of nature and the woods and trees. And anybody that watches my videos knows that I absolutely love being in the woods and being with nature. And I just wanted something simple. And this came out so perfect. And the idea really was kind of what I drew up. So here's my piece that I drew, and it is very similar. So I'm happy with this. I really think that it's a unique piece, and those little etches that we put in, if you look real close, it almost reminds me of like texture of a mountain. I hope you can really see that. I almost thought about shadowing it like I do with my other pieces. But like I said, I really want to stay simple on this. So this way, any beginner can really do this. And I personally, I think it's great. And I was really, really happy that all those little beads just stayed in place. It's perfect. So I really hope you guys enjoy creating this piece with me. If you would like to see me do more gemstones, let me know in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.